What's up, everybody? My name is Keena, and this channel covers personal finance and investing. So if those topics interest you, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. We have a special guest today, Mahesh Balan, who's the CEO of Pravici, a blockchain-focused tech company in Arizona. This is part one of my interview with him. We're going to be talking about how his company is building a tokenized loyalty system on the blockchain. And with all the junk coins out there and folks shilling useless tokens on social media, it's refreshing to see a project that's useful and one that has the potential, in this case, to disrupt loyalty systems. So if you're familiar with, say, Starbucks points or Chase Ultimate Rewards points or any company that issues loyalty credits, this video is for you. This is going to disrupt the way all of that is done. And part two will focus on a medical record system that they're building on the blockchain. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell right next to it to get notified when I release that video. Without further ado, I can see he's already waiting to join my Zoom call, so I'm going to admit him and let's start the interview. Welcome, Mahesh. Can you provide just some background information on yourself, how you got started with Pravici? I know you have a pretty big history, most recently with Oracle, working in the IT space. So what is it that you founded Pravici, right, too?
Yes, I'm the CEO of Pravici. Founded Pravici with some like-minded folks. All of us have spent about 2 decades working in primarily CRM. And just like you pointed out, Kena, we all come from Siebel, Oracle, all these enterprise software companies, right? And then around 2013, we decided, we need to do something fun. Let's do something by ourselves. And that's pretty much how we founded Pravici. And we started by kind of going after, our Rolodex of customers. We were all in CRM consulting. So we started our business primarily as a consulting business. And then got some great opportunities, including working for one of the largest automotive OEMs. I'm just not specifying names because you know how it is. Some companies get a little wound up about that. But we got this opportunity to work with them. We did a lot of CRM work. One of them was to help them stand up a loyalty system. Now, that's where we come from. We have done a lot of large projects. People in my company, and I'll name these companies, have worked with Southwest, American Airlines, Starbucks, many loyalty systems. And that's kind of the genesis of our experience. And then our products just came after that, primarily based on this background.
Well, the aviation is, that's my world, but private, right? So to me, I see this technology, like doing loyalty on the blockchain, is something that's just has to grow, right? It's the future.
So, and since you are in the aviation industry and you understand this probably more than most others, right? So if you look at loyalty systems, which the aviation industry pretty much pioneered, the big airlines, right? One of the biggest profit centers for them is actually selling a ton of loyalty points to a set of partners, right? If you saw this, Kena, with the recent COVID problems, these guys pledged their loyalty system to get billions of dollars from the government, right? Because why? Because the loyalty systems are one of the most profitable in the world. You would even see that. I know of a case in India where there's a famous airline which went bust, it's called Jet Airways, but they were able to sell their loyalty system as a standalone one for $1 billion, right? So it is a highly profitable one. And again, where we started thinking blockchain is one of the problems that we have faced working for these large loyalty applications is the fact that if you buy or sell millions of points between a set of partners where you are a consortium, then you have to reconcile all these transactions, right? Who owes who, how much, and there is always, how it is, right? Companies do, even with their most trusted partners, it's trust but verify, right? And so we wanted to try and solve that problem using blockchain. That's kind of how we evolved into using blockchain technology to kind of address this and look at it in a new way.
Obviously there's a lot of small and mid-sized businesses that have their own, or even big businesses that have their own loyalty system. I'm thinking like Starbucks, or even, my favorite local coffee shop in Chandler, downtown Chandler, is Peixoto. There's points at each of those places. So that's like on the individual business level. But then also there's the aggregators, or, like Chase Ultimate Rewards or American Express, their membership points, or Citibank, or, and that leads into this tokenized loyalty point system.
That's right. So there are a couple of pieces to this puzzle, right? So when you have a set of companies invested in a blockchain system, all of you participate in the risk and reward, right? Nowadays, the way it works is a single issuer will have to kind of take the major responsibility of running, reconciling, and doing this, right? And the second, the exchange between multiple systems becomes onerous because, again, in an ideal world, we should have an exchange mechanism like a Coinbase where you could go in and be able to trade these for other coins or other, like you love flying, and therefore maybe the Chase Bank points can be converted. Now, this exchange of points, especially for the smaller players, becomes very difficult because, again, the infrastructure doesn't exist. And as you know, that's where blockchain can help.
So what is the business case for those, maybe a smaller business to join this bigger network? What advantage would I get as a small coffee shop owner or bookstore owner or whatever it is to join a larger network?
Right. So two things, right? So forget about blockchain and technology for the small coffee owner. They don't really care, right? It's something you use in the back end. And that's how most systems should be, right? It's transparent. But for the small business, it's making the barrier of entry to participate in a larger ecosystem. It helps in two ways. Let us say that, for example, this big automotive company that we work with, right? They issue a bunch of points because you bought a car. Now, if their only network is their dealers, right? It's not a very satisfying system. Hopefully, you don't have to go to a dealer for quite a while, right? And now you have 50,000 points sitting in there, unable to spend that in any meaningful way, right? Now you will be able to include a set of these kind of partners, your favorite coffee shop in downtown Chandler, which also, by the way, I love their coffee too. But the idea is to be able to quickly aggregate a set of partners, right? So for the coffee shop, the advantage is very straightforward, right? It drives new business, right? Somebody who has the points and is now saying, oh, you're also a partner, then maybe at least I'll spend my points in here. It happens with airlines too quite a bit, right? You accumulate a few thousand points and it just goes nowhere. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be able to at least take all your friends for an evening out in downtown Chandler? So the value addition from a business perspective is more the ability to add more partners without the IT headaches that go behind it.
Based on what you just said, now I'm starting to think that the benefit is more on the smaller end, right? Because if I buy a car, or I have a bunch of airline points, but the pandemic's happening, so I can't use them. It's almost like the larger businesses, now that I can apply their points to smaller businesses, well, they're the losing out. So I guess the question is, how do you keep it fair?
Yeah. And that's the whole thing with the smaller businesses, right? See, if you saw your pandemic example, people were willing to give 30-40% off, the price just to get you to come and pick up the food, right? Because they are hurting badly. Yeah. Instead, for a much smaller fee, typically in point exchange systems, for example, even when American Airlines sells to Hertz or anybody like that, the delta is 5 or 10%, right? That's the price differential between buy and sell, right? So if you redeem the dollar's worth of points, you'll get 90 cents back from the main issuer. 10 cents is way better than 40 cents, right? So, and now you are able to attract quite an immense, and if you attach yourself to a larger network, now you have that network effect, right? And be able to attract a large number of customers potentially who you otherwise may not have attracted, right? So that's the power of consortium loyalty.
So how is adoption going? You said you've been building the system since 2014 or 2013.
Yeah, so at 2013, we actually started our consulting business. So we started building this product primarily after a successful pilot with this big automotive OEM, and so things were going well, and then COVID hit, right? But what it let us do, so it's just been in the last 2 years that we have been heavily involved in this. So we doubled down on this and said, hey, there is a future for this. And then since the last 2 years, we have been heads down, just doing the development. And now we are seeing the green shoots showing up. We have been prospecting in Asia along with Oracle. We have some prospects right here in the Valley. I can't talk about that yet. So it's picking up. I just got an email today of another one in Asia. So yeah, we're just starting to see the first few kind of potential prospects that we hope to close in the next few months.
Maybe I'll see some news releases in AZ Central or something about.
For sure. Yeah, we certainly hope to do that.
So let's talk a little bit about the technology behind this. Whenever I hear token or anything like that, I instantly think, is it ERC20 or ERC721 running on the Ethereum blockchain?
Sure. Yeah, actually, we started, like I said, with Ethereum as the first prototype, but then we switched to something called Hyperledger Fabric. And you might have heard of Hyperledger. It's from the Hyperledger Foundation. So it's actually grows from our experience since our charter customer was this big automotive company. Trying to get software approved in large enterprises is an art and can be frustratingly slow. So one of the advantages of adopting something like Fabric is that Hyperledger is well understood. The Linux Foundation, as you know, is all pervasive with the Linux operating system and so on and so forth. So, and the technology lent itself well to what we wanted to do. So from a core technology perspective, we use Hyperledger Fabric, which doesn't have proof of work and so on. So if you really think about the use cases that we are doing, we are talking about a set of companies which want to get together to form a consortium, right? There's no proof of work needed. It's a permission network, and therefore it can be built and extended based on the consortium's willingness to take on new members, right? So that's how it works. And yeah, we could do ERC20 tokens. Actually, we support, the technology supports that. But our model is just based on a standard, think about a wallet as an asset and a set of modifications to asset and balances, right? So we could easily convert that to an ERC20 model. But essentially,
the fees are too high.
Yeah. So the bottom line for us is we don't want to pay fees for anything, and we don't. Here the only fees is the cost of running the nodes, which the partners, the large partners of the consortium, have a vested interest because they want access to that data. They want to do their own reconciliation. So that's where the value add comes from, right? So that's how we model it. And so if you think about it, it's just like any other regular wallet exchange, in Ethereum, it would be the best model. We have an account model. Everybody gets a wallet. You spend some points, and the points is deducted from your wallet and sent to the other wallet.
I don't know much about Hyperledger. So how is this a secured system if it's not using, proof of work?
Normally, these types of systems use something called Raft consensus or Byzantine fault tolerance. And those are standard techniques in non-proof of stake or / proof of work type of systems to for all the nodes to work together and sequence the operations and then settle them. So in this case, it is more about a shared set of rules that a consortium of partners have agreed on, right? And nobody can change, for example, the smart contracts cannot be changed. How the rules work cannot be changed without the agreement of everybody deploying this, right? So the security comes from the fact that even though they are a trusted set of partners, the blockchain has built-in rules, like consensus, as well as the ability to deploy smart contracts and so on and so forth, which make sure that not one person can just take control and say, oh, I'm just going to modify this one account to give myself millions of. We deploy a bunch of smart contracts for each function, but essentially none of them can be changed without the consensus of everybody, right? And all the all the nodes do what smart contracts do. They execute the smart contract, and you have to have a set of consenting nodes to say, you know what, I got the same result as you. Mahesh just gave a bunch of points from his wallet to Kena. He has enough points, I agree. His balance is so and so, I agree. And Kena now gets the extra points, and so on, right? So there is still the regular consensus. All of them have to agree, or a majority of them have to agree, and so on. So all the mechanisms are built in. And the advantage of Hyperledger Fabric is it's a pluggable architecture, right? As things evolve, as cryptography changes, you can change out the consensus mechanism. You can change out, for example, instead of using the account structure like Ethereum, if you wanted to move to the UTXOs of Bitcoin, you could, right? So there is pluggable modules coming up all the time.